What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Tuffy Talk live show. We are here with Michael Tracy, Kens Blackwater, myself, William Smith here. Appreciate y'all tuning in here. See, we got a bunch of people in here already. If you've been here before, you know the drill. As always, just send us a comment. Let us know who's here. Say hello. So let us know what you're thinking, what you're drinking, what your thoughts are, what your concerns are, what your questions are. Whatever you got, we're here for. Definitely looking forward to an awesome show here today. You got Michael with the black Block S hat today. I like it. Sick, Michael. Yeah, that's sick. I like it, man. Is that a newer one? Is that throwback?
Yeah. No, it's a new one. It's a Christmas present.
Hey, there we go. Somebody must love you. That's the important thing. and then then again, myself and Kens are rocking the hats where it's at. The hats where it's at. So yeah, appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, so I got Nick Maths coming in. Well, hello, Wolfpack Nation. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, Nick. Hello, Wolfpack Nation. Another loss for the women. We're definitely going to jump into that here pretty quickly. And then got my mom coming in here saying, "Go Pack!" Absolutely, I'll go Pack. Mama Smith. So with that being said, yeah, I mean, obviously we'll kind of dive into a lot. Obviously, talk a lot of men's basketball here, as Ken said. Night of champs, 2023.
Period.
Period. And then obviously we'll talk a little bit of wrestling because we got to. Yeah, I know.
Kick him out, Christian. Get out.
Chris, come on, man.
He's doing that just to be annoying.
Hey, it's okay. Hey, just ask him his record over the last 2 games and
right?
ask ours.
Who's above you in the ACC right now? We are.
Exactly. No. Hey, it's all good. But yeah, and then definitely talk as well some women's tennis again. It was awesome, another great weekend for sure for NC State athletics, and definitely we'll be diving all in here to it. But with that being said, obviously just got down for the Play4Kay game, which was, again, it's an awesome thing to see. Like just like I tweeted, it's one of the greatest traditions in my opinion in college sports. Just seeing the sea of pink and seeing the house that that Kay built, in my opinion, depending on who you talk to. And again, I kind of say to that, there's a lot of right answers, but there's no wrong answers. But to me, I mean, Kay Yao had a big part in building, that Coliseum, especially being Kay Yao Court, again, just seeing, all the amazing testimonies from all the cancer survivors and, just all the emotion, the tears, including for myself. It's an awesome thing for sure. And I know being there, unfortunately, we weren't obviously able to be there in person. One of our own, Greg Legg, was there in person. But I know I've been there for it, and it's an awesome thing. So if you haven't had an opportunity to attend a Play4Kay game, definitely make it a priority. It is a must in my opinion. But Ken, Michael, if either of y'all had the opportunity to be at a Play4Kay game?
Yeah, I went to all of the ones when I was at State. It's a different experience. I mean, that's the only way I can explain it. Like, it's like your passion for State and your passion for Kay Yao, and everything just comes together. This year though, it did hit a little different, made me more emotional than I've in the past, but it really helped. I loved seeing all these people that have battled through that terrible disease and beat it. It's amazing to see all the people that participate in the Kay Yao game and everything.
Absolutely. Got my man Macon as well tuning in from looks like where are you at right now for work, Macon?
A bunker.
Big city called Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hey.
Wow. Okay. There you go. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm in Charlotte. But yeah, guys. Sorry I'm a little late. I'm getting on, so try to get.
No, you're good, man. You're good. We appreciate you tuning in. You got to give Greg a hard time not for tuning in directly from Reynolds Coliseum, right?
Yeah.
But Rusty also mentioned that we got Pac-9 coming up as well, and we're definitely we're actually recording our Pac-9 preview episode this week, so that should be out next week. So make sure if you're Pac-9 fan, if you're NC State fan, looking forward to Pac-9 baseball, make sure to tune in for that next week. But make it obviously diving into the women's basketball game that just got done. Obviously getting crushed, for lack of better terms. I mean, just like we tried to fight, but we just couldn't stop them, and just I honestly don't think a 12-point differential really shows how lopsided it was. And, really for me, I'm really just going to say the thing that has been the thorn in my side for this entire season, and I mean, not to necessarily point fingers, but just it's so disappointing, and I think has a lot to do with why we're struggling. And that's where the heck is Jada Boyd and Jakia Brown Turner? I mean, like, not to point fingers, but again, at the end of the day, you're a senior. You're probably a fifth or sixth year, depending on COVID. Senior. You've played in Westmore's team and his offensive scheme for a long time now. You should know it inside and out, left and right. And kind of the reason why I kind of put that as well is that one story which I always love is Michael Irvin. He always tells the story that before him and Troy Aikman went out on the field, they did this thing where they patted each other on the shoulder pads and said, "It's on us," and basically saying like, I can't rely on the other players to win the game for me. It has to start with us. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's something that Jada Boyd and Jakia needed to do this season, because at the end of the day, I can't rely on Mimi Collins. I can't rely on some of these younger players, because at the end of the day, Westmore has conditioned Jada Boyd and Jakia Brown Turner for this opportunity, for this moment where there's no more playing behind Alyssa Kunane. There's no more playing behind Raina Perez. Like, this is your team. And just at the end of the day, like it's inexcusable in my opinion to be non-existent for as many games as they have this season. I mean, Jakia Brown Turner was just that player that hit that three to take us to double overtime against UConn, and played really well last season, played really well the last few seasons. Jada Boyd, who was ACC tournament MVP, who we've seen, Westmore say, she's our sixth starter, even with Alyssa Kunane and all these players, so that's really what it is to me. Is it's like, listen, like literally I think it was the shot where River Baldwin got the and one, and they got a picture on the bench of Jada Boyd and Jakia Brown Turner on the bench clapping or whatever. Like, in my opinion, there should have never been a single minute this season where both of them are on the bench. In my opinion, I think you really need to rely on at least one of them to be on the court at any one time, to be that leader, to be that person that can be reliable and get the job done and be productive. Simple as that, but again, other problems? Absolutely. And we'll definitely talk about them. But just that to me is the glaring one, because in my opinion, there's a glaring need for leadership. There's a glaring need for energy. And I got to look at them first, just because, again, they fit the bill. They're experienced. They're seniors. They've been a part of this program for a long time, and they're really talented players. They meet all four criteria, in my opinion. So, Michael, Macon, Ken's, just go. Yeah.
No, I think you're spot on there. I mean, the rest of the team outside of those two is underclassmen or transfers. I guess we've seen it on the men's side, transfers, especially Jarkel Joyner and DJ Burns stepping up. But, you shouldn't have to rely on them. And if they don't get it done, then it has to be Jada Boyd and Jakia. Like, they have no other, they don't really have an excuse, because like you said, they were the role players last year, the last couple of years, and recruited by Wes and brought up, and this was their time. It's just been it's just been a little disappointing. Yeah.
Oh, very, for sure. Making thoughts, man. I'm interested. Yeah, I'm definitely not the basketball guru here, so I'm
looking at the stats. I didn't watch the game earlier.
Yeah.
But looking at the stats here, I'm just looking at, you called out Jakia Brown Turner and Jada Boyd here, because they are leaders. They're veterans on this team. I'm looking at the last 6 games or so. I'm just picking the last 6 games. Jakia Brown Turner is averaging at 28, just shy of 29, 30 minutes a game. She's averaging 7 points a game, and so 1 point every 4 minutes of game time. And then Jada Boyd is averaging 4 points over those same last 6 games, with just under 20 minutes of play. So, you're looking at similar levels of production over the same amount of time. They're just not getting it done. And I don't think it's all them. I mean, Diamond Johnson has been your leader. She can't do it by herself. But you look at these stats, face value, And I tell you what, the rebounds and the assists are just glaring. Needs turn. That's the biggest thing to me. You've got 38 rebounds for Virginia Tech to State's 21. That tells me you don't have any inside presence there. And then assists, you're talking about 10 assists to our 6. Rebounds looks like the biggest thing to me. That is turnovers. Now, Virginia Tech had 15 turnovers to our 8. But when they're shooting, they had a really good night shooting. I don't know what their average is typically. When you're shooting 50% from just a field goal percentage and from 3-point land, then that's really hard to do. State matched them on 3-point percentage, but they're shooting almost 10% better than you from the field, and they're out rebounding you almost 2-1. You're not going to win many games that, especially when your players like Jada and Jaquie Brown-Turner, and not just them, other players on the team aren't helping you out. Like, I mean, looking here at field goal percentage.
Well, and make it. Let me put in 1.2 because the thing which is, now I'm never saying that Jada Boyd and Jaquia Brown have to win the game for us every single time, but I mean, because like for example, men's basketball, Big T, which we'll talk about, Big T, Jarkel, absolutely ice cold, but we had enough guys around him that for this game we said, all right, guys, like Big T and Jarkel are cold. We need you guys to help us out, and they did. They delivered. But most of the games this season, it's not been I can't really think of off the top of my head a game or two even where it was like because of Jaquia Brown-Turner and because of Jada Boyd, we won that game. They've been a piece, but they have not been like a glaring reason.
Jada one time this year.
One time, yeah. Go ahead, make him.
What you said? What did you say?
Greg pointed out one time. One time. What game specifically, Greg, comes to your mind?
It was like 3. I would say Miami or UVA. I don't remember which one it was, but it was about 4 or 5 games ago.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
If you look at the stat line here tonight, it's just interesting to me because Jada and Jaquia were combined 1 for 8. And looking here, it looks like Jaquia Brown-Turner had 1 shot she made. And 1 free throw. It's interesting to me, and I find it hard to believe that the game plan for State is wanting both of those girls to take only 4 shots a game each. And like Camille Hobbies, look at like Diamond Johnson took 15 shots tonight. That's a lot. Madison Hayes 2 for 5. She took 5 shots. Camille Hobby 7 shots. Sanaya Rivers 9 shots. Isaiah James 9 shots. I find it very hard to believe they really want that low of volume from Jaquia and Jada, which tells me like, well, I'm going to tell you, it's where like, is that really what they're being asked to do? I can't believe that. And if that's the case, what is going on there that's making them do that? Is that truly the game plan to get Sanaya Rivers 9 shots? I mean, she was effective. She shot off. She just over 40%. That's pretty good. But I don't see how that can be the game plan. Like Isaiah, you guys tell me, has Isaiah James been a big time player this season? I don't even remember. I haven't followed this time.
She's had spurts.
She's had
her moments.
Why is she taking 9 shots? Are they good shots?
I mean,
go Greg.
Yeah, I was there. So like
you said that's so depressing.
I mean,
I was there.
I mean, it's bigger than the game tonight. If you guys saw our tweets tonight, it was the game is secondary for what it was. But look, Jaquia like 5 minutes below her average at home. I made the comment I think in our chat until like the beginning of the fourth quarter. I don't think she played it at all in the third quarter, and So you got to put somebody in her place, and it was James tonight, and I don't think that's what you want to roll with. But if Jakia's not showing up, you got to put somebody in that spot. You got to play 5. So she's the next person up. So yeah, it was very frustrating with Jada, and like at this point, like I love both Jada and Jakia. Like I don't know why Jada came back at this point. I just don't. Like I'm frustrated. Like maybe I probably shouldn't say it on the air, but I don't know why Jada came back. Jakia, like she's giving you what she gave us last year, and we talked about this before, but she hasn't stepped up. Like she's what she was last year. And so when you lose that other production, someone has to step up. And she hasn't.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said that Jada's averaging 4 points a game over the last 6 games. Like
it's not gonna do it.
And I don't know
15.
And I think that would even be more interesting to see what her shot selection was, because I mean she had a big game against Louisville. She was great, but
I just want to sum this game up. All right. So I think it was the 3rd possession. We got a 5-second count because nobody took the ball out.
Yeah.
Nobody, like none of the bigs, Jada, Jakia, nobody was like, oh hey, I have to throw the ball in. And Diamond's just standing around. She's like,
I'm not about to throw his full court. Yes.
Right? Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, when that comes to to me, when I look at that and I see the fact that we just had the transfer out of the program, and there's some chemistry issues going on, guys. I mean, I know Jada didn't really want to. She didn't almost even play this season, and I don't know what that is. But there's some chemistry stuff going on. I think it's pretty obvious, apparent at this point. At least obvious. So, don't really know what that is. But
losing isn't going to help that.
No, well, and on top of it too, I mean, I think it's tough because on one side, again, you make 2 immediate thoughts, which is first of all, like, okay, we've been very blessed, pretty much over all of Westmore's tenure. We have done far beyond what we probably should have done talent-wise. So, that's a media thing. But also, too, the fact that, I mean, Westmore is one of the best coaches in all of women's college basketball, period. So it's tough to really come to any harsh conclusions for those 2 main reasons alone. Okay, like, we have one bad year. That's okay. So be it. Like, hey, at least men's basketball is taking the huge step forwards. But
it's not even a bad year. Like we're still in the top 25.
Well, and again, but see,
the years it's been in the past, it's
and again,
I get it.
I think honestly, I think the thing that stands out to me is the fact that honestly that we're still ranked, like that we were still ranked before this game. To me, I'm like, wow,
it's our name.
Yeah.
It's
either our name or it's the fact that just women's college basketball is that top heavy. Which might be pretty much the case.
Someone said, I think the women's team's Twitter account put up the fact that we're at this 96th week of being in the top 25 straight in a row. Yeah. So I mean,
that's 2 years.
You're a great program. You're just having a bad season, relatively speaking. I mean, the fact that we're disappointed, and I think maybe we've kind of harped a little bit too much on. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe fair about Jakia and Jada, but this is something that it's a great program. I know it's not saying that, but it's just.
It is.
It's not what it's been in the last few years. I mean, we won 3 straight AC titles, and we went to an 8-8 last year and a Sweet 16 before that. So it's like, when you're not, when all systems aren't humming and all systems are go kind of thing and going smoothly, then it's there's concerns there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. You get that kind of concept. So,
yeah. Again, it's just more. It's just more for me. Go ahead, Macon.
No, I'm gonna say this too. Virginia Tech's a good team, guys. So I mean,
they are.
They're a great team.
We're not dismissing that. Virginia Tech is going to be really good.
It's not like we played like an unranked team and.
Correct. So I mean, we're making kind of a molehill here, but
we're not Carolina and lost to Louisville.
Yeah, that's true. Hey,
mic drop.
Yeah. No, again, it's my only just concern is just that we have not seen these issues before in a West, more coach team, which is like, so as long as this is just a one-time thing, which I fully expect it to be, next year you're going to bring in a lot of talent. Now the one biggest thing is that Westmore is going to have to go after and experience big because we're losing all 4, Greg.
We got 4 transfers. So we're gonna it's gonna be a 4 and 4 next year. If I did my math right, we got 4 freshmen coming in, and we got to have 4 transfers next year. Okay. So if he wants to fill all of his scholarships.
Yeah. Well, because again, because we're losing Camille, River, and Mimi, so you got to replace them. So
and you're gonna lose Jada. So actually, I'm wrong. I think we're gonna have like 9 new players next year, 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I graduated from summer school, so my math's not good. But there's going to be a lot of players coming in next year.
Yeah. Yep. No, absolutely.
Summer school.
So again, at the end of the day, it's a deep breath moment, is there disappointment there? Absolutely. But then big picture wise, I'm not really gonna sweat too much because at the end of the day, also too, remember y'all, there's so much good still going on. I could put together a full list of teams with Ferentz State right now that are ranked in the top 25 between wrestling, gymnastics, you name it. Kens, go ahead.
If we're talking about basketball, the girls are making us a little sad, but our national champions,
let's flip it up.
Are bringing us right back to smile.
Let's flip it up.
Talk about our men's.
Let's flip it up a little bit. Yeah. So with that being said, to jump into men's basketball, we're going to jump into some Tuffy's tweets of the week to back this up. So with that being said, here we go. And I do want to give a shout as well to Hunter's.
Hunter.
Well, yeah, to Greg too. Greg is the man. But to Hunter too, pointing out, yes, we have played a killer schedule. And there are 8 ACC schools projected in the NCAA tournament, is I guess what you're saying here, Hunter. Again, great points there as well. There, appreciate that. But again, y'all, men's basketball has been just
solid,
phenomenal. I know Macon being the basketball nut that he is. I know. As long as I know him, it brings a tear to his eye to see how great this team has been for sure.
That dude. Real quick, Macon and I sat like one section over on Saturday. Look, I've only hung out with him twice. Mm-hmm. First time was at Clemson. Not a lot to smile about, but he was smiling on Saturday, like with this men's team. Like he was so excited about this men's team. Like there he is.
and
also, make it real quick. What was better, the steak on Saturday or the victory?
Ooh, family. Spending time with family is
no. I said the steak.
I'm gonna leave that one there. Spending time with I gotta go family, but
no. I said steak. I said
the steak.
Family's always number one.
Okay, it was definitely the win. If we're gonna go, so it was.
And also too, y'all. I haven't had a chance to do this yet, even too, because I haven't had a chance to talk to Macon since, as I found this out yesterday. But also got to give a congrats to Macon, who we found out is becoming an uncle. Congratulations, Macon! You're the man, brother.
That's awesome.
Congratulations, Macon. Anyway, man, but yeah. So again, obviously this tweet right here from Ryan Williams, talking about how crazy of a bounce back it's been, going 11-21 last year to now 19-5, and basically Ryan Williams saying he should be coach of the year, which I think he's definitely in that conversation for sure. Yeah, Capel, up there for sure. And Braswell, yep. Again, I think they're there, but I think Keats is easily in the conversation.
Absolutely.
How can you argue that? Simple as that. So, but yeah, Michael, I see you shaking heads. Seems like we're all shaking head. Agreement?
Not really. To go from last to potentially top 4.
Could be
I
number
think
one.
that you're more than just in the conversation.
Could be number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still shot at.
I just like who's below us. Season. That's what I like to see. Who's below us again, y'all?
A lot of teams, but the two in particular you're thinking of is UNC and Duke. So
aren't we the only ranked team in North Carolina right now?
We are. First time since May of 1982.
That's what I thought.
No, December.
Oh, December 1982. Sorry about
Is
that.
Carolina fans still in here? I hope not.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Hey, February 19th, 13 days away.
Yeah.
2
I'm
weeks
so
from 2 weeks
excited.
from yesterday.
Me and
Yeah.
Hannah are bringing out the onesies.
I'm gonna
Hey,
get one. I'm gonna get one.
What's your record in the onesies?
Undefeated.
undefeated. There we go. I love that. Yeah. Now again, it's to me, because a lot of people I talked to, coming out of Georgia Tech game were like saying, I didn't like that game. Like that was not a good game. But to me, honestly, I loved it probably as much as any win this season because of the fact that it proved that we are not Big T Jarkel reliant. We are not reliant on certain players, that if these players are not productive, we will lose. Like the fact that literally Jarkel and Big T, like they almost might as well not have even gotten on the floor, honestly. Like it was
Right.
almost that point, and we still beat an ACC team. And you say, well, yeah, it's Georgia Tech though. But this is a Georgia Tech team that really
they
started to hit his stride.
They played really good.
And they played I think as good as they can play.
Yeah.
And we still beat them without Jarkel and Big T, basically.
I mean, but when Jarkel and Big T don't score, I mean, they make it up like everywhere else on the court. Like their defense is great, like everything else. But I think it showed that because teams in the past, if we get behind or get close like that in the second half, we're going to lose. I mean, I think any state fan can agree, like, we're going to give up and lose. Like, that team does not give up, like, ever. And that's all I'm telling you. Y'all thought it was a joke? It's not a joke no more. I'm serious. Give them the trophy now.
You heard it. You heard it.
You heard it here first.
I swear.
For me, the big thing was that Keats, like, just throughout the man zone in that last 5-6 minutes, and Georgia Tech didn't have an answer for him. And we just made a run, and then we started hitting our shots. The one thing for me that was really weird, like I know T had, I think, like 9 or 10 assists.
He had 10,
10, yeah. So, but he had more turnovers than points. And that's typically a game that we would lose, and that we found a way because the emergence of DJ. And look, let's give credit where credit's due. We played some really good defense, like lockdown defense that they got their shots, but when it came down to crunch time, we manned up literally. So I'm look, man, at this point, we're playing with house money. Like, let's go. Like, let's
go all at it.
All in on red.
Thinking about the 19th.
Now, Hunter does bring up a good point, which I do want to ask you. So Hunter says that he worries about the trap that they ran on us. We looked so uncomfortable, and we will see it again. What's your thoughts on that, Macon?
What trap? Yeah, I guess the
one
trap
defense.
defense. Yeah,
they were in 1-3-1 the whole game.
Yeah. They just they're having like some guy always on waving or something like that. Well, I mean, I think the UC State's going to have to be balanced. I think they're going to have to find ways to they keep moving, and I think they have to find ways to get other guys the ball. I think sometimes with that it comes off. You can play off screens that can help open up some shots. I think Jarkel will have to. I mean, Jarquavian, if they do that on him again, will have to hit some outside shots. But I don't think he's not going to be that cold. In my opinion,
I don't think they'll never have both of them consistently have that low.
They'll have to run some screens if it truly is somebody on him, like a man on him at all times. They'll have to try to get some screens for him to get open. But he'll have to knock down some outside shots, some mid-range shots in those situations, and I just don't think you're going to see him get that cold very often, and especially both of him and Joyner being that cold. So they're 3 for 17. That's not typical. So
no.
The other thing I would say is we were very hesitant on the.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the one thing we were very hesitant. We didn't drive the ball enough. Like we had some shots where we had a little mini break or a break, and then they would just scoot it out for whatever reason. And I don't know if that was the trap or like what it was, but to your point, we didn't move around enough. I saw a lot of stationary bodies. But let's give it up for Ross again.
Yeah, Ross was huge that game. I mean, he's 7 for 7 on free throws, and I don't ever like him shooting a three, but he's actually got a pretty good 3-point shooting percentage right now. So it's like
3 games in a row.
Maybe it's okay, but I thought
free throws too.
I tell you what, I mean, I think that you're seeing teams really. I think defenses are more worried right now. I think they have been a little bit. Maybe it's a past due. They make this comment. They're concerned heavily about DJ. They're really concerned because a lot of those plays were the guy who's in the corner, like who's playing that 4 spot or the 3 spot. DJ would be coming out, and then he's looking to pass the ball, and they would slip under on the baseline and be like right there under the basket and get a layup or get the aim one or whatever. And I just think they're so preoccupied with what DJ's doing at all times. And
I mean, they should be.
Hard.
He's a freaking beast.
Is it too soon to talk about tomorrow?
No.
Because
go ahead.
Yeah, real quick is because Virginia likes to double down in the post. So tomorrow's going to be very interesting to see what DJ does. Is he gonna play through the double, or is he gonna pass before the double comes down? And then that goes back to the outside shooting. Like, are we gonna hit shots? Because last year, if everybody remembers last year, we shot the lights out from against
60%.
Yeah, it was one of our best games, and it was our worst team. So I know the teams are different, but it's going to be interesting to see if we can still get that same kind of magic.
Got a really good record against UVA, at least on the road. So.
And even we're not talking about. I think Casey's going to go off too. He goes off every time we play Virginia. So
hey, so I talked to Casey on Saturday. I said we got special sauce tomorrow, and he's like, "We got special sauce tomorrow." So because he's going to be ready. He's going to be ready.
I love
ready.
Yeah. No,
I love it.
I think going back to the Georgia Tech, I think it was just a bad matchup the way they ran that 1-3-1 zone, and not many teams run that. I don't think we have to be too worried about it. It's kind of the same thing. If another team sees we were not great against it, they might be worried about it and run it against us. But at the same time, if you don't run that, if you don't practice that, it's not going to be effective. It's the same reason that Keats doesn't play zone on defense, really, because they don't practice it. So you can't put your team out there playing something they don't practice. So,
right.
Yeah.
What?
That's why you saw a man zone instead of a straight zone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And to your point there, Nick, about it, I wonder if we were looking ahead to UVA. I mean, no. I mean, because the only 2 players that were really just cold was Joyner and T. And, the only issue that we really had with their game was just the shots were just not going in, So, it's not like we had.
But the shots were there. They just.
And what I'm saying is, if we had a lot of bad turnovers, or if we had a lot of miscommunications or things like that, where we just obviously weren't focused, then I'm starting to make the point of, okay, it seems like we're a little bit off, but, in terms of mentally. But I mean, getting the basketball in the net it's just sometimes it's just not. Sometimes it's not there. You could be mentally just there and ready to go and physically ready to go, but just sometimes it's just not making its way inside that little hoop. We
learned that 3 years ago against Virginia Tech. I mean, sometimes it does not drop.
We don't talk about that.
Sometimes it just does not drop.
It just doesn't drop.
I blame my dad for that. That was the first game he's ever been to.
Oh,
that was all Chad, and I'd stand by that.
What was it? 27.
We scored 24 points.
24.
Right.
You gave us 3 extra.
Football.
That was also the last time we were in a ranked matchup. Was that game?
Oh,
yeah.
But why you gotta bring up old news?
Yeah. But Keenan does bring up, kind of one more point that I want to make, and then we can kind of talk about his question here. But I honestly love it. I wish it didn't happen, but if it was going to happen where T and Jarkel are absolutely ice cold, I'm glad it came at this point, right before this huge stretch we're about to have. And on top of it, we still got the win on top of it, because now you're looking into tomorrow against UVA being like, I'll bet a lot of money that T and Jarkel will have some of their best games tomorrow. I can bet that, just because of how good and how competitive they are. I would bet a lot of money on it. Go ahead, Greg.
can we raise your hand if you're going to be there tomorrow night? Oh, that's me. Let's go.
Greg,
go to bed.
Yeah, no, and because like literally Greg and literally Greg, it's just because kind of go through it. So you came in, you were at the men's game on Saturday, you were there for the women's game tonight, and then you're driving to UVA for the game tomorrow.
Where do you get this money, Greg?
Where do you get this? I know.
Hotel rooms.
I know. We don't talk about it. Yeah, no.
No, I'll tell you what. UVA is a nice arena for basketball.
It is.
It really is.
I'm just worried they're going to come in mad against losing to Virginia Tech. That's what we're.
Yeah,
that arena is 17 years old, but it doesn't look it, man. Like they did it right at UVA. Like if we could have like somehow got those same architects that did that and built like our arena, our PNC. Man, that's just stupid hockey. But we won't talk about that.
Hey, man. Hey, Hurricanes are second in NHL, man. Where are your Tampa Bay Lightning at? Second in NHL.
How many cups do you have?
I'm sorry. Do we live in the past UNC? 3? I'm sorry. Do we live in the past UNC?
All right, we're moving on. I can't hear you.
That was good, Lightning.
Anyway, all right, y'all. So one thing though, Peter Parker's in this comment said, "Man, imagine if Seam Braun came back." What was that?
I said Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Parker.
Oh yeah.
I hate y'all.
I ain't put 2 and 2 together.
I hope that's not his real name.
Yeah. And so this kind of leads me to kind of a 2-pointer. So, obviously there's a lot of, what's going on with Jack Clark and Dusan Mahorchik of like, are they coming back? Like Jack Clark dressed, in the Florida State game, but then he didn't dress at all against Georgia Tech. So like, what's going on with that? And I mean,
we broke that.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg takes credit for posting about that before some of the other guys. Which, good for you, Greg. You're the man.
No. Good for us.
Yeah. Good for us. Sure. But yeah, I mean, so to me, it's all speculation. Nobody knows, Keith ain't saying nothing. The players aren't saying nothing, who knows? But to me, we know 2 things, one about each. We know Jack Clark dressed against Florida State, and we know that Dusan Mahorchik has been doing drills. I think there was actually video or pictures of him doing drills a week or 2 ago. So which means, he's getting towards game shape. So, and to me, this is the point where if you're going to bring them back, or if you've been preparing them for a moment, this is the moment you've been preparing to bring them back, is right before this huge stretch we're about to have here with multiple quad 1, quad 2 opportunities. And so, but again, it's all speculation. So, but like a lot of people have been saying, do we really want them back just because we've been playing so good without them? And I'm never saying no to options. I mean, you don't have to play them. Just put them out there. See how they do.
Doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to insert them into the starting lineup.
If nothing else, that's 10 more fouls to give.
Yep.
So
that's very true.
That's not the bare minimum. Those guys, Jack Clark would stretch the floor and be a scoring, shooting threat that you don't have right now at the 4 position on the wing.
Yep.
You could really have 4 guards there that are legitimate scoring threats. If they, I don't know, just come out of that. And then with Dusan, be on a rebound. I think Ernest and Duana and even Jarkel and Turquavian have been good rebounders, but I think Dusan adds another level there. So yeah, you definitely want those guys.
Well, and because on top of it too, and Greg, I'll let you jump in, but because the one thing too is the Georgia Tech game, Franklin. One thing which they were saying on the commentating was that like Georgia Tech knew that DJ Burns couldn't keep up on a fast break, so that's what they would do. Is they would just get Franklin down the court, have a 3-on-2, 2-on-1, whatever, and take advantage. But with Mahorchik, that's what Mahorchik can do that DJ Burns can't. Is Mahorchik can keep up, with a guy like Franklin. Or especially with a guy, like Baykai, when you face UNC, to have somebody who plays hard defense, just like Macon said, have another 5 fouls to give, and somebody that can rebound the ball very well, along with scoring still effectively. Maybe not as good as like DJ Burns scoring 20 a game, but he's productive enough. So, that's my thoughts on it. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to add is it gives a wrinkle now the other team has to prepare for, right? So, like, if they're in the lineup, now it's just like, okay, you have to respect the Jack Clark 3 and the Mahorchik, like, energy factor. Because, like, to me, and this is the one thing that I don't know if we've really talked about, Greg Gant has done a great job of replacing Mahorchik because that energy guy, right? Because I felt like Mahorchik was always that energy guy. Like, he may not give you a lot of points, but he's going to keep balls alive. And like the one thing that Mahorchik has done, that Gant has done, is if he doesn't have the rebound, he'll tip it out to somebody, and he doesn't get credit for those rebounds.
Oh, that's huge.
You could give
That's
him 3
huge.
or 4 more rebounds a game. Yeah,
Right. I just think having Clark out there, it does 2 things. I mean, a few things. It allows you to stretch the floor more. It means that when you're on offense, a defense. I mean, like at the 4 right now, you're not so concerned with them offensively. Right. You have Jack. It's another piece you have to be worried about as a shooter. That's what his main offensive skill set is being a corner shooter kind of thing. So that's a big deal. And when you already have Jarkel and Terquavian, and then you have Casey, who I think at one point was leading the ACC in 3-point field goal percentage, you add Jack Clark back into that with DJ, who is unstoppable at this point. That's huge for State. And so
now go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I just had quick thoughts on both. I mean, Jack Clark, I know he's up until like last week, I think DJ Burns just passed him in rebounds for the season, and Jack Clark has missed 9 games.
Exactly.
He also, I think, still technically leads the team in steals as well. So, he's your best rebounder and best, well, maybe not best, maybe Morcell's your best defender, but he's right there, probably top 2 with Morcell for best defender.
I think LJ Thomas is up there for defender.
Yeah.
Well, and LJ Thomas is another guy that just is kind of an unsung hero.
Yeah, he just brings that in there. Like, you can tell that Keats puts him in. Like, if we've lost the spark, LJ's coming in, and LJ's bringing all the guys like back together to be like, look, like, you got to make those plays. You got to put yourself in those positions to make those plays.
And let's not talk about his timely threes. Like, I think the last 3 games he's had a timely 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not like a lucky 3. Like it's nothing but the bottom of the net that he's hitting.
For real.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say on Mahorchik was that right now there's a huge drop off when Burns comes out to EB, and it's like you're just trying to get Burns enough of a breather to get Burns back in the game. That's something you don't have to really worry about with Duston out there. I mean, he's a quality starter.
Now I do got to give EB credit. I mean, he is solid.
Defensively,
he's defensively solid. He can hold down the court while DJ Burns is resting. Like, he can hold it down. So yeah,
get it out of here.
I would even argue. Yeah, I think it's I almost sometimes line Ross there, but he's a true forward. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. That's a great point. There's a drop out with EB, and then maybe I feel like EB does better the more he plays.
Yeah.
But having Mahorchik back, I mean, he wasn't an offensive threat, but he was a rebounder in my opinion. So, and I think Greg Gant's a guy he gets overlooked too. Those tip passes, like you said, Greg, that was a good call. That was a good call. That's a good observation there.
People look more on his shots that he misses more than rather like what he does. And I'm like, I don't understand.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Greg Gant, and this is the worst comparison I will give in my life, but if you had to give a comparison, he's like a homeless version of Dennis Rodman. Like the man just gets like, I'm not saying poor man's. But the man,
why does he have to be homeless?
Because he's not a poor man's version. He's not a poor man's version. Like
it's like a hypoallergenic version of Dennis Rodman.
I got a reaction. That's all I was looking for. But he just goes out there and just does the dirty work that no one else wants to do, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the other thing that I'll mention real quick is if you look back at that Wake Forest game when Smith and Joyner to a lesser point, I guess, got in some foul trouble, and we ran out of a rotation there. There was only one scoring option on the floor, and so Mahorchik and Clark brings you a little bit more scoring punch if you get into some kind of foul trouble scenario. Because again, gosh forbid we play at Carolina where they drive the ball, quote unquote, and we get in foul trouble. And so we're gonna need that. We're gonna need some additional scoring.
Yeah. Now the last thing which I want to bring up before we kind of get back to now the last thing I want to bring up before we get to more of these questions here. Go ahead, Macon.
Sorry. This is a random thought. I was watching a Duke Carolina game. I would love to count how many times RJ Davis throws his head back to get like a foul called on him. Like,
yes, all the time.
That dude does that so many times.
All the time.
I'm pretty sure he needs a chiropractor because he's got whiplash right now. Like he, he needs so like I don't know if anyone like have you guys seen like those William Shatner lawyer commercials? Like whatever that guy is, like he needs to call that lawyer because he's suffering like on the job injuries.
Yeah. Well, because I think honestly too, that's what him having like his lighter braids that he has, because it really kind of adds to the effect when he throws his head back. It's a lot easier to see.
But it's just great.
Yeah. But the last thing which I want to give we get back to some of these questions here is I think you got to give a lot of credit to Keith in terms of seeing him how he handles the bench now. Like, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like I think he puts his foot down a lot more this year, man. Like he has been like I love seeing all the clips of him chewing out players or chewing out the bench or whatever. I'm like, yeah, Keith's like, even if we're up, like again, Florida State, we were up by like 20 and he was still chewing the guys out. I'm like, yeah, Keith, that's what I'm talking about. Again, it's like, and everybody's saying, well, that's what he's supposed to do. It's like, well, I don't disagree with you there. He should be doing that, but then I love seeing it, so that's all I'm going to say.
Keep him focused. Keep him
focused. Yep.
Yeah. I think he didn't, I feel like he didn't do that a lot last year.
Heck no.
But I think that was on purpose because I mean,
he knew
so disadvantaged last year. Yeah. That, he knows when to get, emotional with the guys and pump them up or settle them down.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think
exactly.
He does well with that.
But so King Knot kind of asked the question of like, do we want to have another loss heading into the ACC tournament to kind of help us take the next level? Which I'm like, well, again, all right, let me tell you this, King Knot. Our last games this season are at Virginia, at Boston College, at Syracuse, at home against UNC, at home against Wake Forest, at home
Duke.
against Clemson, at Duke. I mean,
that's the one you want to lose. If you're going to lose one, lose at Duke.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be the best quality loss. Yes.
Well, this is why I will say that. Yes.
Yeah.
So when it's on the road, 2, you can't lose to Boston College. That's a quad 4 loss. UVA, that's a road matchup. Like if you're going to lose one, so it's either I'll preface either Virginia or Duke. But right now you want to ride that momentum. Clemson is senior day, so you don't want to lose that. Carolina, I don't need to even go into that. So for me, it's Duke. If you're going to lose one, it's Duke, and that's right before the tournament. But you don't want to lose that one either. So maybe Virginia.
Are we talking standings here? How it's going to play out? We think that we're talking here.
I think it's kind of
momentum.
I think King Knot's kind of talking like momentum. That way you're playing your best ball in the tournament.
How do we think it's going to go?
We lose to Boston College and win the rest.
We're talking about NC State. We're talking about the ACC as a whole.
Both.
NC State.
Okay, we'll start with NC State. I think this matchup is going to be very telling for what the rest of it's going to play out to be. Because if you can go on the road, you can get wins against teams like Florida State and Georgia Tech, and that's fine. You can't lose those games. You mean like we beat Georgia Tech and we fell in the net rankings. It's like they're beating us up for playing a team in conference. Yeah. So to Greg's point, we cannot Boston College.
Yeah, we didn't.
No, I'm saying that was the problem. You can't lose it. Yeah.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
just ask Michael because he had a nice conversation yesterday on Twitter with a UVA fan.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because one thing that's interesting, and Michael, I just want to add this one thing in. So right now, UVA is favored by 7, which
It was 7.5. It's just 7 now.
it's 7
Yeah.
now. It's 7.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
Talking about what games.
No respect.
Obviously, I mean, first you obviously want to win them all, but yeah, talking about putting a positive spin on a loss. I honestly think I'd rather win at Virginia than lose at Boston College. We don't have any bad losses right now. That last at BC is a Q3 right now. I think it's not 4. So we could handle having one bad loss
Because
but
we
the
haven't had
Virginia
one
win-
Q3 or Q4 loss this season.
Yeah, but
We-
the
we
Virginia
haven't-
win
kinda
would
like
be
it.
huge.
That's a
Virginia win
refocus,
would be
right?
huge. Yeah,
Like if you lose at Boston College, that's a refocus.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
if you lose at
I-
Virginia, that could be like a momentum just like
I
break.
think if you have a resume in front of a committee and you have 0 losses in the Q3, Q4 category, I think that it's something that will set you apart from other teams. Because a
The
team
whole
like
conference.
Clemson right now, who's first in ACC, has a couple of those losses,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and they're probably going to get a similar seed to State, if not better, if not worse.
I think the worst. I think
Yeah.
the worst because they've lost to South Carolina and BYU, which are both like under 500. I think
They just
BYU is
lost.
just above 500, and I think South Carolina's below.
So, but here's what I think for NC State. I don't really know what to think about this Virginia matchup. I don't have like a gut feeling here. It does make me a little nervous because I think UVA is playing really good basketball, but because the numbers, when you look at their stats when they played against Virginia Tech, you look back to. I was trying to find a trend, if you will, from their loss. They had a loss against Virginia Tech, they lost to Pitt, and they've lost to Miami, and they've lost to Houston. In those ACC matchups, there's nothing that's a glaring trend. It just looks like they got outplayed and they just lost the game. But I think State could go in and win this matchup. I think I kind of get the vibe they're going to.
Mhm.
And part of it's because of the way I'm seeing Ross play and Gant play. And I think they're going to see like a committed effort to stop DJ. And I truly think that you're going to see one of Terquavian or Jarkel. I think you're going to see one of them go off against
UVA.
Virginia.
Yeah.
I think we're going to run, man.
Huh?
You think we're gonna run it?
I think we're going to run, man. Like I think that's what we want to do.
I just want to do because they want to go slow, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you want to force them out of their element, and they're going to want to force you into their element. And I think so State needs to score to force our defense. And you're going to probably out rebound UVA because UVA doesn't want to rebound. They want to get back and set up their defense. I think you're going to see State try to push them. That's what Keith has done. I mean, when he was at Wilmington, they almost beat UVA in the NCAA tournament that one year. But for the rest of the season, to McKenzie's question, I think State's going to probably drop a game or two.
Yeah.
But I think the ACC is Pitt's to lose. If you look at their schedule, it's so easy.
It sets up.
Georgia Tech, Boston College, Florida State, Louisville. I think a team like Clemson, I think a team like even UVA, State's kind of like an okay schedule because a lot of those tough matchups are at home. But I don't think Clemson's going to last, guys. I think it's a lot.
They might not make it.
Did Miami get the win against Duke?
They're crushing their souls.
Yeah, they're killing them right now.
Yeah. So
look, hot take. I don't think Clemson's going to make the tournament or the NCAA tournament, obviously, but I don't think they're going to make the tournament.
I'd be bold. Yeah, but
I don't know.
We're winning out.
Because here's what I'm going to say. They're setting up like Wake Forest did last year.
Yeah,
that's true.
So like
Wake Forest had a lot of high wins, but they had a terrible strength of schedule.
Yeah,
and that's what
and a couple bad losses too.
So did you guys see what I posted in the chat today about like the resume for Clemson? It was not good.
Clemson has lost 4 in a row, and they've lost 5 out of the last 6.
You're trending the wrong way in March.
And you have some easy matchups here. They do have Georgia Tech, Louisville, and Florida State, but they also still have to play Miami and UVA. And
but
they play NC State, don't they?
But again, Georgia Tech and Florida State are two teams right now that are two teams that have nothing to lose right now. And honestly, I mean, they're playing strong right now. I mean, again, like Georgia Tech and Florida State are playing strong. So I mean, the fact that we won those games, I think we're great. So yeah, no, again, I mean, I think for me at the end of the day, like whether we're second, third, fourth, I mean, if we get first,
top 4,
great.
that's all you want.
Yeah,
top 4.
give me top 4. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Give me top 4. Give me that double bye, and I won't. I mean, like, yeah, if we can win it all, great. But just like Greg and Macon said, I mean, like, unfortunately, right now we're fighting uphill while Pitt's like cruising, pretty linearly to,
And Michael said this stat last week, and I think it's still an important thing to say again this week. I think we should almost like keep hammering it until the tournament about the top 4 seeds.
Oh.
I think you said 6 of the last 8.
Sorry. Yeah. Hey, I was looking at women's basketball when I gave that stat, so I'm sorry. I was like, why am I not seeing Clemson on the schedule? I'm like, women's basketball.
That's
awesome. I actually
all right. Anyway, Michael, give us a stat, man.
Oh yeah, what Greg was talking about the double bye since 2014 when they started it. 6 out of the 8 ACC tournament winners have had the double bye, and the other 2 have had a single bye. So it's just so much more beneficial to get that double bye.
It's your legs, man. I mean, there's no question about it. It's the legs.
And whatever, I mean, as long as we get top 4, I hope we're matched up with Clemson. Like if they end up winning the league, I hope we're the 4. If we're the 2, then I hope they're the 3.
Mm-hmm.
So hold on. Now I'm going back here. So now I've got the men's team. I'm truly looking at
take 2.
Okay, so Clemson's got to play at UNC, at NC State, and at UVA.
They have tough.
At Louisville, but Syracuse at home, Notre Dame at home. So they've got.
So you expect them to go 2-3, 3-2, something like that?
Well, okay, let's go game by game here. So you got Clemson here. You've got at UNC,
lost.
Florida State
at UNC.
You hope that you can win.
But they barely squeaked. Hold on. Real quick. They barely squeaked against them last time at Florida State. So, like,
right.
Here's the thing. Anyone that has Florida State on their schedule right now, that's not an automatic win. I mean, like, if we took advantage
Florida
of them,
State is a scary
we took
team.
advantage.
Mm-hmm.
They are. They are. I don't want to see them again.
So Louisville is probably a win.
So 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Syracuse at home.
50-50.
At home. 3-1.
Yeah,
I give them the edge.
Okay, at NC State.
Lost.
I think
Okay, at
You
UVA.
You can't spell Clemson without an L.
Lost.
So let's
Okay,
go.
what about Notre Dame at home?
Notre Dame will win.
So
4-3.
Unless the white boys know what they're doing that night.
So you think 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's 1. Do you think
4
they
and
go 3 for 7 the rest of the way?
Or 4 for 7.
No, you said we had 4 losses. UNC, NC State, UVA, and Notre Dame. That's 4 losses.
I can see that going either way.
Yeah.
I can see either going 4-3 or 3-4.
Either way.
It wouldn't surprise me.
So
It wouldn't
Clemson
surprise
is
me.
18-6 right now. 3 for 7 the rest of the way would put them at 21-13. Is that a NCAA tournament resume?
It's probably on the bubble.
You would be losing
on the bubble.
I mean, we'll see.
the last 3
You got to see what everyone else does.
Yeah.
You got to see what everyone else does.
Yeah.
I don't think 21 wins,
still-
losing your last 3 matchups to 2 of them being NCAA tournament teams, in my opinion, I don't think that gets you in.
So 2 factors. One, you
Yeah.
got to see
Just
what
like
the
Greg
rest
was
of the
saying,
field-
hot tech Greg.
what the rest
Yeah.
of the field does and what you do in the tournament. So, like, but going into the tournament, they're bubble.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap it up here, y'all. Let's get back into it, I guess. So Rusty asked the question. So we have a bye on the last weekend. So our last game is February 28th, which means that especially if we get the double bye, That's a big break in between our last game and the first game that we play. Which is that good or bad? I immediately say, yeah, I don't like it. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we can't do anything about it. Like if we're that good, I'm not going to be sorry about it. But
Right.
even if we don't get top 4, that only gives us, places one day earlier.
Every single time.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm not mad if we end up in the 5 seed. At that point, I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I think
yeah.
I think that plays to your advantage, especially in a tournament setting.
Yeah, it's mental.
Like if you've got a team that's played 2 games already and you're on a 2.5 week rest, that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, I'm with Michael. I think you take the double bye any chance you can get. It's one less game you have to win to advance. So
yeah,
I hear you. There is a logic of there is some teams who do benefit from having played an extra game. I think that's just any given team, any given year. It's just you don't know.
Well, because it's not just necessarily the bye. It's just a matter of that we have so much time in between our last game of the regular season and when the tournament starts, period. No matter even – is that a good thing or a bad thing that we have that much of a break?
So look, apples and oranges, I get it. But if you like a lot of NFL players have said they don't like that first round bye in the playoffs. Like they want to keep playing, right? So I feel like, the only benefit it does is it saves your legs, a little wear and tear on the body. But basketball isn't like football where, it's physical. I think momentum is everything in sports, and I will
Absolutely.
fight anyone that says anything different. Like you want to stay hot, like.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
I think it benefits the fans too. Like that's one less high heart
rate.
One
less ticket you got to buy.
Right? That too.
Yeah.
One less alcoholic beverage you have to drink.
Yeah. All right, so jumping into another tweet, got to give a shout here. So NC State has been ranked number 22 in the latest AP Top 25. This is the first time the Wolfpack has been ranked since 2019, and the first time since December 27th, 1982, where NC State is the lone team in the triangle to be ranked. And we all know what happened to end that season in 1983.
So it is kind of odd how many things correlate to 40 years ago this year.
It really is.
Weird.
Houston being number 1 is
It's a little weird. I know we all kind of joked. We're like, haha, it's 40 years ago. It's like
it's not a joke.
Kind of getting a little weird.
Yeah.
Look, fact check. I was the only one alive then out of the 5 of us.
That's true.
Yep. Yep. But anyway, hey, I love to see it. All right, moving on to our next one. So what?
You guys deserve a championship.
I sure as heck
we
do.
all deserve one. We all deserve one, dude. I'm telling you, dude. So the Athletic College Basketball came out asking the question, how do college coaches feel about the best teams in their conference? And Seth Davis asked those in the ACC, Big 12, and Big 10. And this one in the graphic is from an anonymous ACC coach when talking about NC State, saying, and I quote, "They're damn good." Period. Like that's all they say. And
hold on. I just got a tweet from Maury Povich. No lies detected. So you are not wrong.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, again, y'all, we're living in a great time. I'm definitely all here for it. And then
good.
We're
so scary good.
We're so scary good.
Can we talk this for a second? Hey, I had this question with my dad.
Go for it.
Like, it's more of like an obvious question. Has State even hit their ceiling? We haven't even had a game yet where everybody has played to their potential
and had a fully healthy roster.
Without having
game is coming on the 19th. Hot take.
Go ahead, guys.
I'm telling you.
We have 3 players at any given moment can put up 30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like coming into the Georgia Tech game, we were a Jarcaro Joyner missed dunk away from 3 games with a dive for 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How many teams can say that? 3 players,
not many.
30.
Yeah, I mean it is scary as long as they can get some contribution and they have key players on defense like Greg Gant and Duana at times or
LJ.
LJ. I mean, like
And-
that's I almost view LJ as like a key guy, like a role player on offense because he's just like clutch at times. But
Well,
Yeah, for sure.
And Dusan hasn't played in any AC. Well, he may have played that early one, but
That Pitt.
I don't
I think he played Pitt.
the Pitt game,
He
yeah.
played Pitt.
But
yeah.
yeah, one ACC game. Jack Clark's missed the last 9. Like, yeah, no, I think the ceiling is still up there for us.
Yeah. So, and then the last one here to have a little fun here. So, per Sports Illustrated, North Carolina is on the bubble. And basically, for those who are listening, it's the Sports Illustrated cover where it had, Leaky Black, RJ Davis, Caleb Love, Armando Bacot, and they had Hubert Davis. And it was, talking about, how UNC is the team this year. But basically, somebody put in a cover where it says North Carolina is on the bubble, and it's honestly hilarious how much UNC has changed their thoughts of like, winning the ACC and being ranked, all that to, dude, I hope we make the tournament, and because I mean, again, right now they're 15-8. They still have to play at Wake Forest tomorrow. They have to play Clemson. They have to play Miami, who just crushed Duke's souls. They have to play us at State. They have to play at Notre Dame. They have to host Virginia, and they have to go to Florida State. And then they have a game against Duke. So I mean, they got a tough stretch.
Their chemistry's a little down from what's going around on Twitter.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need homegirl to keep taking one for the team for us.
but again, y'all. Per Hubert Davis, UNC got screwed because they only had 3 free throw attempts, and we lost because of that. If we would have had 20 plus more free throw attempts than the other team, we would have won this game. Dang it! How dare they?
That's a joke.
I can't believe he said that out loud.
I didn't want to talk about it. It's
like that just shows the incompetence of that program. Honestly.
He didn't even say like we didn't do a good enough job attacking the basket and getting to the rim. He said we did. He basically said we did do that, and the refs just didn't call the fouls. Like you can't admit that.
The fact that he said it with a straight face, I was like, "Bro, are you for real right now?"
I was waiting for a laugh or something. When it didn't happen, I was like, you know what? That explains that. That shows all you need to know about Carolina.
I was looking for Ashton Kutcher in the press conference, going, "You got punked." Like,
I think.
Like, are you kidding me?
Really
like, I don't think they're just on the bubble. I think they're on the wrong side of the bubble right now. Like, if the tournament started today, I think they would be out. I think we're their best win.
Their last 4, yes, we are, because you had mentioned Ohio State last week, and they've tanked. Like, they've gone the wrong way. Right now, I would say they're the last 4 in. They're playing in Dayton right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yep. And on top of it too, because again, they're playing Wake Forest at Wake Forest tomorrow, who again, Wake Forest just crushed Notre Dame by 17. And we all knew that Wake Forest was a really good team. It was just a matter of they just had to get back rolling. Now they're rolling. UNC is not rolling. They are disintegrating.
Can we take 30 seconds? They're pretty good for a bought team. Anybody pick up on that? Anybody hear about that? A bought team?
No.
Jim Boeheim? Oh. Jim,
dude.
He's just burning everything.
He did pick on them a little bit after that game they had.
He's burning all his bridges.
Every bridge. Like Jim Boeheim's like, get off the line. He needs to retire, man. He called out Pitt, he called out Wake, and he called out Miami. The only one he got right was Miami. Like they did buy their team.
Yeah. Now, it just I'll chuckle a little bit about it. The fact that UNC was ranked preseason number 1 in the country. I mean, they might go down if things stand out as one of the worst preseason number 1 teams of all time. I mean, they're in the conversation right now.
Hey, I lost my connection. Can you repeat that one more time?
Right.
Yeah. So literally, UNC might go down as one of the worst number 1 preseason ranked teams of all time. I mean, they're in that conversation.
They were the fastest. They were the fastest to ever get out unranked, going from number 1 to unranked.
But here's how they'll spin it to NC State fans. Well, at least we were ranked number 1 in the preseason.
Right.
Not if we win the national championship.
Period, Michael. Period, Michael. Who knows? Michael.
Oh, you've officially brought Michael on the Natty train. So.
I'm telling you, I'm fine.
So I like Carson's prediction, thinking that Wake wins in Winston. I know as of right now, UNC's favored by 1 point. UNC's favored by 1 point tomorrow. So definitely a toss up there.
I think Wake's
I
Yeah.
think UNC
It's
will
gonna be a
kill
tough
'em.
one.
I think they'll get some fouls called their way and they'll win that one
100%.
easily.
Yeah, but we'll see.
There's-
I
I
think that's a
think part
toss
of
up.
it is,
Sure.
I think with all the people complaining about how Carolina has gotten so many fouls, I think part of it, at least, is the refs trying to call it the other way. And I wonder if the fact that you're seeing the coach complain about it is him trying to now persuade the refs the
Come back the
other
other
Bring
way.
it back. Bring it back.
Bring it
So
back.
I think that's honestly what he's doing. To be
Yeah.
This
I mean-
just in, Applebee's has gotten 4 fouls. And
Yeah.
so like they're no longer offering their 2-for-1 special on Tuesdays.
What a shame.
Yeah, no, and then again, UNC fans complaining about the foul at the end of the Pittsburgh game, which I mean, the ball didn't even leave his fingertips by the end of the clock.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, y'all. Like we had a legit reason to complain. Y'all have no reason to complain.
Exactly.
Okay, you're your own worst enemy. Just take it in on the chin. All right. But then Nick also points out, seeing that a bracket had UNC as a 10 seed, which I mean, again, I think that's
probably
best case
about right,
scenario
yeah.
right now.
If you
Yeah.
slide to 11,
Yeah.
you're in the playing game. So
Yeah. And then Carson says, well, so we need a player last name Bojangle. That'd be awesome. All right. So wrapping this up, we have one more tweet here, which this is one from Macon, which Macon, I might need you to kind of fill me in a little bit here. Is again, I mean, if you're listening to us right now, you're definitely going to want to watch, just tune in and see this, because this is definitely just way too much to say here. But I mean, take me through
My
this,
head
Macon.
hurts.
What do we have
So
here?
this is where David Hale puts out a lot of really good tweets at times about stats for different players.
Yeah.
He had a similar tweet, I think it was about a year or so ago, between comparing Devin Leary to Sam Howell. We did like
Yeah.
a player A, player B comparison, and player B in this case, I think, was Devin Leary, and he had better stats than, or arguably the same level of quality stats that Sam Howell did, but Sam Howell getting on the hike. So here's a similar situation. You've got a corner. This is for football. This is a cornerback comparison. You've got cornerback A has those stats. Cornerback B has the bottom level stats. You got corner A with a 36.4 completion, 4 yards per target, 0 touchdowns allowed. All those stats,
Etc. Yeah. So
he has an 81. You got the
is one of those a state player?
Yeah. So you go on, and then he responds in this tweet later, which he doesn't have here. Player A is Alabama's Kool-Aid McKinstry, who is basically a draft. I think he's a draft eligible cornerback this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Player B.
Oh, can I take a guess?
Yeah.
go for it.
Is that Aiden White?
Yes.
Bang, 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 bang. Pow, pow,
So it's
pow.
like,
Yeah, we
it's
need our
like
sound effects.
some
Yeah.
situation. This Alabama
Awesome.
player getting all this hype and comparable stats. Quarterback B, in this case, Aiden White, has played 3 more games of stats and has more room for error there. The exact same amount of yards per target allowed. Also allowed 0 touchdowns. He's allowed less completions, or basically less completions on explosive passing plays. Comparable yards per coverage. Similar in the grade, and he's playing basically just as good, is the whole point, as Kool-Aid McKinstry, and he's getting no recognition. This is like a high-low player right here. If you're talking about draft, if you're in the fantasy football kind of stuff, this is a buy low. This guy is so much valuable, and he's not getting any of the hype. So Aiden White is
awesome.
It's an interesting perspective on stats in the offseason, how special Aiden White is of a player that he
100%.
I don't think state fans even give him enough credit for how good he is. So, or recognize
That's a really
Absolutely
good
agree.
tweet. That's a really good tweet.
Yeah. Well, especially too on top of it, just because I mean, NC State wise, I think that, we've had a lot of solid cornerbacks over the recent years, but I think this is the first one that he's elite, that elite level, in my opinion. So, and again, he's still young. He's still got next year and the year after if he wants it. So he's still got 2 more years left of eligibility, as crazy as to think about. So with that being said, Parker asked a question: how many of you are going to be at the game on the 19th or the game against UNC? That'll be myself, Greg, Kins, Michael, and
we're gonna find a ticket for Macon.
Not Macon. Okay, yeah, Macon.
Which one?
The Carolina
UNC game.
I would love to be there. I don't know if I can be there, and
We'll find you one.
So at least for sure, yeah. So at least for sure, Greg, Kins, and I, Michael, I think you said you're working on a ticket. Macon, we'll see what we can do with that. But a lot of us, so definitely make sure. Yeah, I know. Now I know. Well, another thing which I love the game is sold out. I love that. Again, I mean, it shouldn't be just the UNC game that is sold out, but I'm glad that once again, it's obvious that fans are buying into this team and is buying into this rivalry. Like, it's awesome. So I love every single bit of it. So with that being said, also got to give a shout out to Ice Pack as well. As again, they'll be playing the ACCHL tournament, backing up their 3-time ACCHL championships here this weekend after coming off of a victory off of UNC. Love that. So huge shout out to them. Huge shout out as well to women's tennis, who beat 2 top 20 teams in the country, Oklahoma and Tennessee this past weekend. Shout out to them. And also to wrestling, will be going against a tough matchup at home against Pitt. I think it's actually senior night against Pitt. It's Friday night at Reynolds Coliseum, so make sure to come and check that out, Wolfpack Nation. And also too as well, y'all, you may have seen as well, but we got the brand new home field apparel, NC State vintage gear. So if you want to check that out, if you want 15% off, make sure to, again, either click the link in the description below and use the code name Tuffy in all caps, and you'll get 15% off your total order. And you can check it out. You got the 83 t-shirt. You got some awesome sweatshirts, sweatpants, hoodies, you name it, long sleeve, short sleeve. It's awesome stuff. Make sure to check it out, y'all. And then also too, go ahead, Michael.
Softball opens their season. They play in some tournament in Arizona this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend. Yep.
Yeah, so awesome. Excited to get that rolling. And then also as well, again, I mean, this state gymnastics just came off of avenging our season opening loss against UNC by beating UNC and Western Michigan, ranked number 23 in the country right now, 4 weeks in a row of 196 or more, which is unbelievable for sure. So again, y'all, just saying it once again. Yes, we just came off a loss in the Play4Kay. Yes, women's basketball is frustrating for sure right now. But even still, y'all, like, even with all the still positive you have women's basketball, there's so much freaking positive going on outside of it that you need to lock in on for sure.
Can we talk women's tennis real quick? Like, they got the 2 big wins over the weekend.
We mentioned that. Yep.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we got that. Yeah, no, that's definitely a big. But we will more likely, at least again, I haven't talked with the team yet, but I know I'm able to do it, and I think we got to do it. But I feel like we got to do a watch party for tomorrow night's men's basketball game. I mean, for Virginia, I think it's a must. So at least myself, and I'm sure one of the others or multiple others here with Tuffy Talk will be a part of it. So make sure to join us. Yeah, exactly. We'll call in. So tomorrow night, again, the game is 9:00, so we'll probably tune in, probably go live 8:45 or so, give or take. So make sure to keep an eye out for that and join us and react and discuss the game along with us. This huge matchup against number 22 NC State versus number 11 Virginia.
Like that.
11, I think it's 11.
Yeah,
or 8.
Because they lost, so they dropped.
Who cares?
I'm getting honestly women's basketball and men's basketball confused because we were both ranked 22. So I'm like, either Virginia Tech or Virginia was number 11 or.
By the way, who had that at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, right.
Both teams
I know.
Ranked.
Yeah, I know. Nobody. Not me.
And
that's for sure.
And next week it'll be.
I did.
Well, I guess if we win, but next week
it'll
probably
Carson
be the
says UVA
ranked.
is 8. Carson says UVA is 8. So it was Virginia Tech that was 11. So appreciate that, Carson.
Top 10
so
win.
Yeah, no, huge opportunity. So again, y'all, tomorrow night, watch party, 8:45 will go live. Make sure to tune in for that here on our channel. If you haven't already, make sure you can hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button if you enjoyed this, and give us a follow, Tuffy Talk now on Twitter and Instagram. But thank you all so much again for tuning in. We always appreciate your support. You're the best. Make sure, again, check out the home field apparel. Again, 15% off, all caps Tuffy Talk. I'm sorry, all caps Tuffy, not Tuffy Talk. All caps Tuffy, and 15% off, y'all. But thank you all so much again for tuning in. As always, go Pack, baby.